and hookers are going to hang around in front of a fucking prison? Bullshit, they ain't coming anywhere near it. What's wrong with these people? All the criminals are locked up behind the walls. If a couple of them do break out, what do you think they're going to do? Hang around? Check real estate trends? Bullshit. They're fucking gone. That's the whole idea of breaking out of prison, is to get as far away as you possibly can. Not in my backyard. People don't want anything near them, especially if it might help somebody else. Part of the great American spirit of generosity we're always told about. Big, generous American nation.
This is George Carlin 30 years ago talking about prisons. We were talking yesterday about that. Well, somebody texted and said they're building a $750 million prison out there in Garfield Heights. And they're building the most expensive prison in the world in Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama is going to cost more than $1 billion. A new supersized prison down there. The Alabama Corrections Finance Authority approved a final price of $1.25 billion. 2 giant prisons that will each house 4,000 inmates. Now, prisons are also job creators. You need a lot of hacks working that place. You know, in Columbus, about 10 years ago, you might recall that Ohio State spent $2 billion on a cancer hospital. And then they spent $4 billion on another hospital so big that it literally blocked the view of the first hospital. And you got to think, man, can you imagine all the mega prisons they could have had for that money? Here they are building cancer hospitals for research, trying to cure people. They could have just built a bunch of prisons down there in Columbus. Crime's not going away. Cancer's not going away. But $1 billion down there in Alabama. Critically important to public safety, they say. And they said, we haven't built any new prisons in more than 30 years. Now, let me ask you this. Once those new prisons are built, and you're talking 8,000 beds in these prisons, which is kind of just like a dormitory where you might conceivably spend the rest of your life, depending on what you were convicted of. But are you happy to at least be in the new prison?
Probably.
You go, hey, this is
I want to be the newer one.
Hey, they got Wi-Fi.
Because roaches.
Yeah, the ones that are older, especially in Texas, if you get transferred to the new one, it probably at least has air conditioning.
That's the thing.
Or like the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, you know, where Trump and all those guys got booked. They were like, if these guys had to spend any time here, it's an awful, awful prison. You get a brand new spot there in Alabama.
That's the thing that would get me, though. Like, if I avoid getting beat up or, you know, sexually assaulted in there, if I can get past all that, I have to deal with the bugs. And there ain't no one to save me. There's spiders, roaches, bed bugs, whatever type of thing you can imagine in your cell. And you just have to live in swaller. Is that what?
In what?
Yeah.
Is that, what was it? What did Mary say? Swaller?
Yeah, did she say swaller?
Is that what she said?
I think she did, yeah. You were quoting her.
Yeah.
Yes, live in swaller.
Swaller,
I took a big old swaller out of it, and I was like, uh-oh.
Mary pulled a pound cake a couple of weeks ago. She said swaller instead of squalor. Yeah, so at the very least, you end up in the new prison, along with 7,999 of your closest friends.
7,999.
Right?
Oh.
8,000 beds.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You are merely one convict. Convict.
Music.
And, yeah, it's pretty wild. And I think it's a private prison. And you know how they love new business in the private prison business.
If you're going to go to prison, why don't you go to a private prison? Step your weight up.
Step your weight up.
When I go to prison, I go to a private prison. You know, do you think there is a hierarchy of prisons?
No, I think if you're in prison, I mean, yeah, you're in prison. You're in prison. They sentenced, remember Taylor Shabusiness? Best name of all time. Remember this? Her mugshot was pretty foxy, but I mean, she's Taylor Shabusiness was the woman who was like high on meth and banging her boyfriend, and she ended up killing him and cutting him up. Remember the mom came downstairs and his head was in a bucket? This was in Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin a couple years ago. She's only 25, and she was messing around with her boyfriend, and she tried to plead insanity. But they were like, well, she wasn't mentally ill. They were smoking meth in his mom's basement, and she strangles him while they're banging, cuts his head off, and then cut him up. And the mom found his head in a bucket, and all, you know.
Dude, that's
And she was just like, mind your business.
Mind your business. They gave her life without parole there in Green Bay. She ain't going to no new prison. But that's wild.
Ugh, and it
You know,
stinks
I
in
mean,
there.
I must be getting mixed signals on meth because on the one hand,
Hey, man, meth ain't that bad.
meth ain't that bad. Now, that's a guy who's never cut anyone up, to the best of our knowledge. This lady, though, man, if you can't handle your high, woof, maybe meth is not for you. I mean, she attacked her attorney.
Yeah, it sounds like she's already kind of violent, and then meth will make you even more violent.
Yeah, she had a hearing back in February. You might have seen the viral video from the courtroom. She attacked her own attorney. And then the sentencing was, I think, yesterday. And they gave her life without the possibility of parole. She's 25 years old.
Again, you have nothing to lose if you have, I mean, your life, but
What do you mean nothing to
you
lose
get-
other than your freedom?
I'm saying if you get life in prison, I'm just going to keep trying to escape.
Yeah, but I don't think that's as, of course, I was going to say I don't think that's as easy as it sounds.
But I'm saying you have
Evidence to the contrary. It seems like it's real easy these days for people to be escaping prisons.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're in there for life and there's no hope of you ever getting parole, you have no incentive to behave. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to make everyone's life miserable. I'm going to keep trying
Or just
to
do
escape.
your time.
No.
I get what you're saying. You're like, what are they
There's
going
no
to give when they give people 90 life sentences, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, move me to a different prison or I'm going to stab my cellmate. Like, I'm going to smother poop on myself. I'm going to make your life hell because my life's hell. I ain't got no incentive to be nice no more.
Alan, imagine if Alabama spent that kind of money on education. Well, now you're just talking crazy.
Well, prison's big business.
My cell has that new prison smell. Yeah.
I'm sure they use little air
Right.
fresheners in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to poop like right next to your pillow.
Got to poop. So I was doing sperm news last segment, talking about Mel Tucker, talking about Mia Khalifa, and somebody texted me. And they said, hey, man, I'm on day 32 of a semen retention streak.
Ooh.
I crank it once in a while, edge without ever finishing, takes more discipline. I'm trying to break my record of 180 days. I know you've made fun of dudes like me before, and I laugh with you.
That's so
And I was like, what is the point of this? And he said it makes you mentally tougher. There are that's
There's
dubious
other
at best.
ways.
There
Yeah,
are
take cold showers, man.
Yeah, a lot of
Do
ways.
an ice bath.
Right.
I agree with this, though.
I think whatever you think makes you mentally tougher is going to make you mentally tougher. So consider something that still allows you to whack. I don't understand. There's a real.
Well, if you really want to go mentally tough, do it so that you have to finish 100 times in a day. Instead of going 130 days or whatever your record was.
Make enough to do
Yeah.
that.
It
Yeah,
feels.
well, what's your mental toughness?
But there's something that feels really like old school religious about this notion that masturbation makes you weak. I know there's all kinds of crypto bros and Joe Rogan fans who have this in their head that, like, you know, oh, we don't ever whack it. You know, all those Proud Boys and stuff. I guess they're proud of
They're
not
all pent up.
masturbating. Right. You got to blow it out. You guys would be a lot happier if you were, you know. So I don't understand the notion
Just
that, like,
find balance. Like,
it
don't do
makes
it
you weak.
constantly, but, every couple days. Nothing wrong with it.
When I started the show, in one of my vows of celibacy, I also
what?
vows of celibacy.
Okay.
What?
No, go ahead. I thought I misheard you.
Yeah,
I did not. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I went celibate, and then I included not tossing off, and mentally it was a struggle, but I think I felt a lot better. Like physically I felt a lot better, but mentally I was like, I got to do it. I was cranky. I was mean.
I don't understand. Listen, I grew up Catholic, so I get that end of it. I mean, if you're like a religious nut, yes, every religion tells you that your body is filthy and dirty and, you're not supposed to do anything with it. That's all silly.
It was just like a cleanse.
But I don't get it.
Well,
what's the point?
Well, one, I watched that movie 40 Days and 40 Nights on Comedy Central, and that also motivated me. But also,
Yeah, but that was a comedy movie.
I understand, but I just wanted to see if I can do it. And I think it was the anticipation of when am I going to give in? So
right,
I was tricking myself because I really wanted to finish, and I never did.
But but here's my take. People go, I want to see if I can do it. You can not do it as long as you can do it. We all know you can do it.
I went a good long streak when I was a missionary. Like I'm talking like almost 2 months.
But that's a religious thing.
Right, again, a religious thing.
I was going to say mine was a month and like 10 days.
And it was the most miserable I've ever felt.
So it was just to see how long you could do it,
I was like
Cody?
trying to quit. Like I was like, I felt like every time I did it, I was betraying a vow I made to God.
Right.
And I was trying to not do it at all. And then I was just like, nah, I got to do this.
But that's all religious.
Yeah, it's all religious.
Religion. It's the people who go, well, it makes you mentally tougher.
I was like, mine was...
Whatever you think makes you mentally tougher is what's going to make you mentally tougher. I don't know why so many dudes think it's whacking off.
What is the mental toughness that they're talking? Just being able to resist the urge?
Willpower, having discipline, being able to...
But that's a useless toughness. Like keeping yourself from whacking off isn't.
But you can apply it to different areas,
But you can apply it to different areas without keeping yourself pleasuring yourself.
Okay.
Like having a disciplined diet, having a disciplined schedule, having a disciplined
working out. Yes,
all those are much more beneficial ways to show yourself to develop mental discipline and mental toughness. More so than I went 90 days or 120 days without beating it.
Also, again, for me, it was part mental toughness and discipline, and the other half was I wanted to see how big it would be after 40 days when I finally finished.
But that's not how it works.
But we've explained that
it doesn't.
Well, at the time, I thought it did.
After
and it was big.
Like if you do it 3 times in a day, the third one's going to have less than the first one.
Right.
But there's
40 days and you've been pent up.
If you because it reabsorbs into the body. It's just water. Like the stuff that makes it a bigger, like there's...
You don't have 180 days built up in your sack. Like I had a vasectomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't build... You absorb it back into your body. So it's not building up from... No.
No, that's
what it is.
That's not, I don't know. That's what Dr. Berglund has told us on 100 occasions.
That's right.
Times that I have pushed back and waited, like maybe gone like 2 weeks. Like maybe I was on a family vacation. I didn't do it while I was on vacation. When I got home.
Right. There's a maximum amount that you can get.
I understand that, but
it's not going to go. But going a week is probably the same as going 2 weeks. And 90 days is like you're not going to have.
That's psychosomatic.
I want to ask Dr. Berglund, what's the longest?
He's already told us.
Not the longest time, though. What, 2 weeks?
Longest time what?
Like, what's the point where you're... I don't know how to say it any other way.
That you'll
when
max.
Your loads would be the biggest.
That's not a thing.
Okay.
I mean, because it doesn't, there's no way to know that because your body is constantly absorbing it in. I don't understand. This is another thing that goes back to
self-observation.
Dudes, listen, if you want to run experiments.
I do. That's how I know.
Great. But that's got nothing to do with mental toughness. That's got to do with just basic curiosity about the body. I understand that.
And I was curious about it. And I told you, there was a time in my life where I went, I would do it every day, and then I would do it every 2 days. I would do it every 5 days, and then I wanted to see. And at the end, like when the weeks I went like 2 to 3 weeks without doing it, that first time after doing it for 3 weeks, it was huge. I was like, oh,
right.
my gosh.
And that's, we're saying, like, there's a certain, but
I want to know when that max is. Like,
Google it, man. It's probably around 2 weeks.
But who cares?
He cares a lot.
I care. I just want to know.
He cares a lot.
But you could be doing that experiment throughout your entire adult life and never find a baseline.
I want to find a sweet spot.
It's a sweet spot.
Well,
anyway, people can do whatever they want to do. I'm fascinated by the notion that it is an indicator of mental toughness because there are so many other more pragmatic ways to test that.
And develop it.
I can't figure out why guys are so laser focused on the masturbation. It's weird. It's weird. I think part of it is like this fake masculinity where it's like it's considered weak because if you were a real man, you'd be banging chicks and not whacking off. And it's like, that's not even a binary equation. Who says you stop whacking when you're having regular sex?
Right.
No one does that.
Some of the best whacks are the ones where you think about the sex you just had. You go, that was a good session. I'm gonna kind of get into my my memories here and have myself a time.
Honey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna cast my mind back 15 minutes to what we just did.
Well, not usually 15. It's usually, and I'm thinking more like in my scenario where you go, yeah, I'm thinking about the pool table. And then
Nope. I do it right after.
I was going to say,
I get up, wipe myself off.
Your Uber's on the way. I'm about to beat it. We're both
going to beat it.
Yeah.
Does your time tossing off, or not time, but the amount of times you toss off when you're in a relationship differ from when you're single? I know neither of you have, well, Bill, you're single now, but Alan.
It didn't for me.
So it was just pretty much the same? You toss off the same amount?
Yeah.
I would say I probably, because like and there's, ebbs and flows with it where sometimes I'll go a few days and I won't do it. And then there's other times when, for whatever reason, when I'm on the road, I'm in a hotel room, I'm beating it like crazy. Like I can't, I don't know what it is. Like crazy. Like it's like, it's like 2-3 times a day when I'm on the road.
Because you're bored.
Yeah, kind of.
You're doing it out of boredom.
Right. And like,
I never did it out of boredom.
If I'm just at home, I can be just as bored, but I'm not going to like.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, when I was in
I feel like there's also something about being in a hotel room where you're like, oh, just what hotel room.
Yeah, you want to christen it almost.
Christen the hotel room. You think about all the gross stuff that other people have done before you even
I'd be
got
like, all right, well, I want to do my part.
Yeah, it's my turn. That's exactly how I feel.
It's my turn to defile this hotel
It's their
room.
time up there. It's our time down here.
This rented bedroom. It's my turn to defile it. I'll leave myself all over this TV remote control.
I don't do it on